Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hole in the Wall. Get on in here today. We've got a good lineup of stories and segments for you to have a little fun with this Thanksgiving week. Start things off. We have our first new segment that we have going on here called Deck Doctor. We're looking at a commander deck list submitted to us and see if we can give it a prognosis and a little treatment plan to get it back in tip-top shape. We'll look at a next possible target for Universes Beyond, and if you're anywhere in the gaming world, you'll know what it is. And finally, Goblin's got a little segment for us. Just have a little fun with the Thanksgiving theme. So let's kick it off with the deck doctor. Dr. Goblin, what do we have here?
Well, Dr. Nimi, today's patient is Iroh Grand Lotus. This list was sent to us from Cathanis over on Archidect, and we're just going to take a look. Right now, it's at 105, and they told me that they want to get this obviously cut down to the correct size and want to try and focus on like kind of the lessons theme and just taking advantage of Iroh's abilities. Just looking at the list off top, we've got Aetherflux Reservoir, some Mana Rocks, a lot of thematic cards, looks like. 36 land, I like to see that. A lot of decks these days want to play closer to 38, but we'll just have to see how the ramp looks throughout the list. I do think it's correct that this list is only playing Soul Ring and Arcane Signet. Any deck with green in it, you want to kind of focus your ramp in more like Farseek and things like that. Something that could just go straight up get you a land, as opposed to a Mana Rock, which can be kind of fragile at times. So, immediately, there's nothing really jumping out at me that hard. So, we might have to get the CT machine out and do a deep scan of this deck. Anything you see jumping out?
Well, you mentioned it from the top of the you mentioned at the top of the list. The Aetherflux Reservoir is something that's just jumping out at me. So Iroh wants to be Spellslinger, which is perfect. Like we like Spellslinger around here, and just making the lessons being super cheap and flashback next to nothing is really good. But there's not I can't really see too much life gain other than the fact you're casting spells. Is there anything that you can see?
Not a ton. Um, and even so, I don't think life gain is the strongest thing you can be doing in Teamer. I feel like Aetherflux Reservoir really has a home in like aristocrats decks. Like your Sephiroth deck would be perfect for this, or like a white and green life gain based strategy, or like food decks like this card a
Yeah.
lot too. Like when I was playing Frodo and Sam, but I just don't think that this Aetherflux Reservoir really fits with the rest of the list. I think this is a pretty safe first cut.
Yeah, and plus, comparatively to the other cards in this list, it's a pretty pricey one. So
A pretty safe first cut. What about you, Nimi?
yeah, it's a good strategy and it's got its merits. But when you're not really life gaining other than just casting your spells, it just seems like it's just gonna sit there.
Yeah.
No way to really abuse it in a deck like this. So bye
No.
bye.
So another thing that's jumping out at me now that we're taking a deeper look is this creature count looks pretty high for a Spellslinger deck. In fact, you have as many creatures as you have instants in the list. Now you do need some creatures because you're going to have to block ostensibly, but maybe we can take a look at these and see if there's one or two that don't quite fit.
So one thing that not looking at specific cards, but Iroh costs 6 inherently.
Hmm.
So he's gonna be relatively late to get out. So I feel like you'd want to minimize on your high cost creatures, unless those creatures are like what I'm thinking, like detrimental to the deck.
Yeah.
Now, Archmage Runes, I like. I think that can stay. Uh,
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has anything in the list that is directly competing with Iroh,
right.
but I will say that this Balamor Battle Mage Captain, I've been playing with this card a little bit on Arena, and I was unimpressed with it in a low power setting like unranked or bronze and silver arena. And I think in Commander, even though this card is cheap, it just doesn't quite get to that power level that we're looking for.
Yeah, and he has Right of the Dragon Caller in his deck, the enchantment, which that's just gonna spit him out tokens, especially if he does get Iroh out and just start spamming his lessons. So I think that could take the place of all the creatures that he wants. So yeah, I can see Balmor coming out,
Yeah.
especially because he's got a lot of two cost ramp spells. So it's competing with his turns. Do you want to have a guy on the board or do you want to get farther faster?
Yeah, and when your commander costs 6, I think you would much rather develop a land with something like Farseek or play your Arcane Signet than play this Balamor on turn 2. Speaking of, you said Rite of the Dragon Caller. You liked this as something in the list.
Mhm.
It does directly compete with Iroh for cost, and the only other card I see in this list that costs 6, well, there's Whirlwind Technique, but this can get reduced,
And Thousand Year Storm.
and Thousand Year Storm. So whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast before it this turn. Okay, this can go really crazy if you're flashing stuff back.
Yeah.
Maybe this is good to keep in. What about Whirlwind Technique? Target player draws 2 cards, then discards a card, airbend up to 2 creatures. So this is a lesson. So he will get to flash this back. This is a big push on the board, and you get to draw. So I feel like
Now,
all of the 6 costs included here are pretty good and don't necessarily need to come out right away.
well, Whirlwind Technique I could see on the chopping block because it does cost 6, and all of his stuff has the flashback when it's in the graveyard. So it's
Right.
pretty late in the game, and from what I can see, there's no, I could be wrong, but there's no real way for him to like impulse draw with red or draw on discard.
Yeah,
So
abandon
he ha-
attachments, and that's it.
so he has to cast these spells first before getting the flashback. Unless, I don't see any way for him to discard. So I feel like that card could go just because it is overcosted for what it does. I mean, granted, paying 1 for it is really good, but you do have to wait for him to be on the board and then go that turn cycle after casting it again. So theoretically, he can cast it twice on turn 7 or 7 mana, but is that worth doing?
Right. And even if it takes his lesson count down, you don't want to get to 6 mana and have the choice between Iroh and Whirlwind Technique, right? Um, you might mistakenly want to cast the Whirlwind Technique, so it's in the graveyard when your Iroh comes out. But I think you're right. I think maybe this could come out.
And just looking to, he does have stuff that reduces mana cost, for instance, in sorceries. Like he's got Primal Amulet, and some of his creatures have it too, like Storm Catch Mentor, Thunderclap Drake. So he's got some ways to reduce costs on spells, but best case scenario, he has like 2 out, and then it would cost 4. Would you pay 4 for Whirlwind Technique?
Yeah, I'd pay 4 for it. The
Yeah.
airbending is nice, although it's not straight removal. He's not going to be doing a ton of attacking here. Um, I think this is pretty safe to bring out. Got to take two more out. And
Lightning bolt.
lightning bolt. I think lightning bolt's fine here. This is good spell slingy removal. You can flash it back. Kills some stuff. Doesn't kill everything. I don't know. I think it's fine. But it could be one of those that ends up getting.
Could see Leyline Tyrant getting taken out just because he has Electro in the deck.
And Ashling as well.
Yeah, and Leyline is good and it works for this deck, but this specifically says red mana when it dies to do the damage, and Electro is any costed mana. So
Yeah.
whatever that means, especially since he's playing Teamer, not like mono red.
Right. And Iroh does give you 2 firebending mana on swing, but paying, like, dealing 2 damage to something when your Leyline Tyrant dies in a combat scenario just doesn't seem that strong.
Yeah, and Leyline has to die versus Electro just leaving the battlefield, so it's stronger.
Right. You could airbend your Electro. Oh, but we took the Whirlwind out. Personally, I do not like Arcane Denial. I feel like you give your opponent too much, and you gotta get too little in return when you could have just spent blue on counterspell. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, objectively, Counterspell is the better card, but I like Arcane Denial for the thought of Commander. Just just being more of a fun type card. I mean, granted, you're giving your opponent more resources, what you don't want to do, but like for us in our pods when we play, we want to have a good time, and I feel like it's just less of a sting when you get Arcane Denial versus Counterspell.
Yeah, you
But
get a little rebate. That's not too bad. Okay, Secret of Bloodbending. Okay, this is a lesson. It's 4 blue pips. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you may waterbend 10. You control target opponent during their next combat phase. If this spell's additional cost was paid, you control that player during their next turn instead. Exile Secret of Bloodbending. This is a sorcery based mind slaver that he can flash back off of Iroh. And there are, I mean, we have abandoned attachments. I think Grand lets you discard as well. Draw a card, then discard a card. Yeah, so there's a couple ways to just put this in the discard and then flash it back with Waterbend 10. Although I do think that'll be quite expensive.
yeah, the Waterbend would not get around the flashback. So I mean, if he wanted to control someone's turn, he'd still have to pay 11.
Yeah.
That's a steep cost. I mean, paying 1 to control someone's combat's good, especially if you go against the combat style or the Voltron decks. You can just swing that somewhere else. But I feel like you'd want to pay. I feel like the reason you play this card is to do the secondary cost, and that just seems like a lot. But I mean, granted, he is playing a lot of ramp, so I mean, theoretically he'd get there. But would someone let him? Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, I think this is a really cool in theory, and in practice, it is a dead card in your hand most of the time. So I think we're down to 100. Yep, we are at the base size. But is there anything else we want to change here? Anything else that we could think of that just doesn't quite fit the theme?
Nothing really jumps out at me.
Now, let's look at lands. The commander does cost 6, and we're on 36 land. Maybe there's a way we can shore this mana base up a little bit. Looks like a lot of tapped lands are going pretty budget, but let's see what we've got.
A lot of tap lands. He's got check lands. He's got stomping ground and steam vents. So
Thriving Bluff, Thriving Grove, Thriving Isle, White Lotus Hideout. So I think a big mistake here is you have no basic forests. Not one.
he's got two.
Where? Oh, I see them. They're like a blue green color. Okay. So you have two basic forests in a green based deck like this, or not really green based, but your green is like the source of your other ramp. I'd really like to see this mountain count at like 4 and maybe go up to
Well,
6
he
forests.
he is running a lot of red. Most of his creatures are red. Like it looks like the green is mostly for his like solely put to his ramp, which is fine. It's not a bad thing to do. But I think maybe like drop the islands down to 4 and then at least put the forests up to 4. Or
Maybe.
if you wanted to, you can make the mountain 6, the island 4, and the forest 6.
Yeah, I think 6, 6, and 4 is right. 6 forests, 6 mountains, 4 islands. Because you do want to have some blue. And I think for probably under $5, you could change all of these thriving lands into pain lands. So let's
Yeah.
go. Let's do a Carpulsion Forest, a Shivan Reef, and Yavimaya Coast.
I also don't see too much inherent card draw. So it doesn't look like this deck doesn't have too much draw, which I mean isn't a bad thing by any means, but I feel like what is it? Reliquary Tower doesn't need to be in this deck.
Yeah, and it doesn't tap for color, and you're in a 3-color deck. So let's take this out.
Give them more color.
What about, yeah, we've got Exotic Orchard. What could we replace? Let's do, we have a lot of tap lands, but what I'm not seeing is a little Temple of Mystery.
Yeah.
And is there landfall? I'm seeing a lot of the unnecessary, or not unnecessary, but the unoptimal fetch lands here,
I don't
which
think
do
there
thin
is.
your deck out, but not in a really meaningful way. Yeah, I'm not seeing any landfall.
Oh, they do cost money.
Yeah, but I'm not saying use
Be up.
those, but like, I feel
Yeah,
like,
I see what you're saying.
yeah,
Bountiful landscaping, suboptimal.
yeah, I mean, or Evolving Wilds. Like, we could play. Oh, Fabled Passages are expensive now. Let's do. What about a little Meteor Crater? You can probably get a cheaper printing of this than $2. Choose a color for
And if
permanent you control and add 1 mana of that color.
and if you can, for the group buy tab, like drop down up top. So I like seeing this because it shows like what each card is doing,
Yeah.
essentially. And like I said, he only technically has one piece of like true card draw with the Ashling Flame Dancer. So Yeah, I could see I could see
Oh
Reliquary
yeah,
Tower coming out because I don't think there is a world where he has a high hand size
I
because
think
he
I,
wants stuff in his graveyard anyway.
I think I already took it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, one thing he could do if he wanted to make it easier on himself is he could run those wheel cards in red to give himself more fuel into the drop to cast it for free.
Yeah, like Wheel of Fortune or
No, things like romantic rendezvous, unexpected windfall, like the red like discard cards draw.
Unexpected Windfall. Has additional cost to cast this spell. Discard a card, draw two, and create two treasure tokens. Okay, maybe not that one exactly, but I see what you're saying. Oh, this does let you discard though. But we've cut a lot of his spells that he would prefer to discard, I feel like.
Right. Well, not saying that we have to go that route, but
Yeah. Let's see.
honestly, one good thing too, since he's playing from the drop, Shadow of the Goblin is a perfect enchantment for him.
At the beginning of your first main phase, discard. If you do, draw. Whenever you play a land or cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, does one damage to each opponent. A little bit of burn, a little bit of pseudo Phyrexian Arena, where you discard then draw. Help load up your graveyard. I don't think that's terrible. I think that's fine.
Especially if he's flashing the cards back. So he's going to be doing that. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So
And another card that I saw that I do not care for is this Mana Geyser. This card is can be pretty strong, but here you're in three colors. You have a source of red mana from your commander. I don't think you need this Mana Geyser at all.
yeah, so we can swap that out and easy peasy.
Shadow of the Goblin. We'll move this to draw, even though it's not technically draw. We can't do
And
that.
the good thing about Shadow of the Goblin too is if you do get it early and you do start seeing your high costed lessons and stuff, you can go ahead and get those ready, throw those in the drop,
Yeah,
get ready for Iroh to come out, then you're good to go.
I think that's good.
Yeah, other than the lands, just I would say like just an investment over time, just getting the better land base. I feel like this is a great start to start with. Great start to start with. A great starting point.
Yeah. One more change I'm gonna make is I don't see any shrines in this list at all, so I don't think this Aang's journey makes any sense, even though it is a lesson. We'll just play Rampant Growth. And instead of getting that basic land to our hand, it just comes to the table now. And it's
There you
not
go.
like we can't flash regular non-lessons back with Iroh either. So, yeah, I think this is a good start, good place to be. Another thing that we would probably like to see a little bit more of is card draw, but honestly, I think Mr. Cathanis from Architect, you're just going to have to see how it plays and see what you're comfortable with cutting and just kind of adjust from here. But this is kind of where we would start.
Funny
Oh,
enough,
we're
this
at
plays.
101, so we got to cut something.
Ooh,
Yeah. I think we cut environmental sciences. In Commander, we don't really want to be putting basic lands into our hand. We want to be putting them on the table.
yeah. Funny enough, this plays very similarly to the Green Goblin list that I have, even though that has green and mine is black. Does a lot of the same things as playing the cards from the drop, so it feels very similar. So feels right at home for me.
Yeah, playing your spells, getting some value, flashing them back. stocking up on mana with things like Electro and your commander. Yeah, this looks like a fun list.
Can't wait to see the results.
Next up tonight, lead Magic the Gathering designer wants to collab with Claire Obscura Expedition 33. This is actually from Yahoo Entertainment, surprisingly enough. And it's a pretty short article, so I'll just dive in and we'll talk about it after. One of Magic the Gathering's lead designers has expressed interest in the game, collaborating with Claire Obscura 33 at some point in the future. Magic the Gathering has had plenty of crossovers with other franchises before, so news about this potential set has fans excited. I don't know if it'll be a whole set or just a secret lair, but we will have to see. Universes Beyond is the name for Magic the Gathering's crossover sets. We know about all that. Claire Obscure Expedition 33 has been one of the year's most acclaimed releases, and that success has led it to earn multiple nominations for the 2025 Game Awards. Boy, don't we
We
know.
we can confirm that it has a lot.
Yeah. Last week we actually did our Game Awards voting, and it's up there quite a few times. In a recent talk with Dextero, Magic the Gathering principal game designer Gavin Verhey discussed how gargantuan a task it was designing and creating the Final Fantasy set for Magic the Gathering. All of that effort paid off when the set became one of the best-selling in Magic's history. When asked if he had a particular video game property he hoped to make a Universes Beyond, Verhey named Claire Obscura Expedition 33 at the top of his list. While the idea seems exciting to Verhey, he isn't certain if it'll happen or if they're even up for that kind of thing. Verhey's reasoning is simple. Gaming brands are good collaborations for Magic because you don't have to teach new players much. They're already gamers, and you don't have to explain what hit points are, what an objective is, or what mana is. They just get it. While the crossover like this would be super exciting, it would be a while before fans get to see anything related, as Wizards of the Coast has already laid out their roadmap for Magic's 2026 releases. But that isn't to say nothing is impossible. But that isn't to say that nothing is impossible. Is that a double negative? Never mind. Should our wishes come true, just to know that I'll be pre-ordering a Malay and Verso commander deck for my game nights. Well, I think you might be disappointed. I think if anything, this will be a secret lair, because they can print quickly, strike while the iron is hot, and get something out next year in between all of the already planned releases. What do you think about this, Nemi?
Well, neither you nor I have played this game, so I'm not 100% certain with the hype. I mean, granted, it sounds like a great game, and it is from what we've heard and seen. But as far as it being a Magic product, I could see it just for the hype. Now, believe we talked about this earlier. They they've pretty much said on record that if it's an IP that isn't Magic, they're talking about it being a Magic IP.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see this being like 2027 maybe, but by that point, most people probably would have forgotten about the game by then. But I could still being it like stuck in as like a hot patch.
Yeah.
like
Yeah, I
like we need
mean,
this.
I think this is going to be sooner than that. I think this will be a 2026 secret lair, 5 cards, 6 cards maybe with a token.
Yeah, this is one of those like maybe it is will be a cultural phenomenon. People will be talking about it for years, but I don't see that being in the realm of possibility. So my guess is that if they don't do it next year, then they probably missed the boat. People will forget about it.
What's stopping them from doing it? It sounds to me like, from what we've covered in the past, when they come to these meetings, they're the one kind of throwing their weight around, and a lot of game publishers and developers seem really keen to jump on the train. So maybe this is Gavin kind of calling their shots and saying, "Hey, we're coming for you. Get ready." Like have those negotiation pins out because you're gonna be signing something. So last up tonight, got kind of a short show, but I put together a little game for us to play. I call it a game, but it's not really that structured. We're just gonna take a look at some Magic the Gathering cards and put together a Thanksgiving extravaganza. Um, we're gonna cover the main course, the sides, who's coming to dinner. So let's just get in without any more preamble, and I'll just explain it as we go. How does that sound?
Boy, I sure am hungry. Let's get to eating.
All right. So as this goes, you are going to pick from different cards, obviously. I will go to the first slide. Where are we going to eat this year? Are we going to eat at Grandma's Haunted Restless Cottage? Or will we visit Uncle Bilbo in the Shire?
Now, tradition dictates you eat with your grandparents, right?
Right, right.
So I would, funny enough, as much as the Shire looks cool, I go home and see my parents, so I feel like the cottage is where we go eat.
Yeah, I think over the river and through the woods, to the Restless Cottage we go. No matter how spooky Grandma's house looks with all the crows in the front yard.
And then maybe while we're at grandma's house, we got to go, take a walk. There's too many people out, so maybe we go to the Shire for a bit, just hang out and do what they do at the Shire, and then
Just
come back.
Yeah, just visit. Just visit, see what
Quick
Uncle
walk.
Bilbo's cooking up out there. He's just around the corner. So, who's gonna cook this year at Grandma's house? We've got cousin Rocco. He's a street chef, runs a food cart, and then Uncle Guillaume, the master chef of the family.
Now, does Guillaume do this professionally? Does he work in the food industry?
Yeah, I mean, I would assume so. He's got the apron and the little hat. Look how he's got that fish cut up on the table there. He looks pretty professional.
It's pretty professional. I'd still give it to Guillaume. I mean, Rocco, he's got to deal with the people on the street, and that's just a lot of work. Like dealing with the public, talking to him, it's a lot. So he needs to relax.
Yeah.
So I think we give it to the master chef who makes the turkey this year.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we're going to go with Guillaume. Now, what y'all want to drink? We can go out to the yard and get the soda machine fired up, get a Nuka-Cola from the vending machine, or we can drink that weird bottle that's in Grandma's cabinet. Looks like there's a rose and some other stuff in it.
I'm a Nuka Cola fanboy for life. I've been collecting them since they came out. So give me a quarter. I'm going to the machine.
He's going to the machine, but think of the elixir. We could have Thanksgiving forever.
You got money? You got Thanksgiving forever money?
Yeah, I think I'll go to the vending machine with you, actually.
I got 50 cents. That's what I got.
Let's get a cola. So, my uncle calls veggies rabbit food. I was looking for some vegetable cards, and oddly enough, there aren't really a lot of vegetable dishes. However, this carrot cake is literally made of carrots, and looks like Miss Bumbleflower's covering the veggies no
Boy,
matter what.
I hate to break it to you, Goblin, but do you know what carrot cake's made out of?
Yeah, but I mean, come on. Look at these carrots.
That's fair. That's fair. They forgot to chop them up.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No spices, nothing.
yeah, yeah. I'm not much of a carrot cake man. So give me the share pot. Let's see what Miss Bumbleflower's got in the hot pot.
It honestly kind of looks like my grandmother's vegetable soup. Just whatever's in the cabinet, Get it going.
Throw it into the salt water.
I think I'm with you. Now, sides. Pick two and add cheese for 65 cents. We've got the golden egg from the Golden Goose. Our aunt's weird new boyfriend brought some very shiny looking pears. Uncle Bilbo sent some lambus bread. And we have a meat pie that seems to be moving while it is on the table with bacon to a pie here.
Now you're more of a Lord of the Rings fan than I am. Lembas is the one that will feed a man for 10 days, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Now I, I'm gonna be full. I'm gonna be sleeping for a while. So give me the Lembas and I'll take a golden egg deviled, please.
Some golden deviled eggs. All right. I think I'm gonna risk it on the pie personally. I don't want to be super full off of lambus bread, so I will also take a golden deviled egg, and then I'm gonna take a weird slice of this squiggly pie. Pray for me.
Pie. I'll be too full.
So this one is please don't sit next to me. Everyone's got that one person at their Thanksgiving that they just don't want to sit next to, and I tried to cover the gambit here. We've got our white glove gourmand aunt that is going to complain about whatever's put in front of her and then stand up and give a toast like she didn't just trash talk everything that she's been eating all day. We've got our hunter uncle who is constantly picking his teeth and is wearing the heads of his kills around his neck at the table. Likewise, we've got our polar werebear friend here. There's a gym bro that constantly smells like fish and isn't wearing a shirt at Thanksgiving, oddly enough. I have a couple of those in my family. And then we have the 3-year-old that's only gonna eat fruit and chews with his mouth open with insatiable frugivore.
Do, do you little Fallout lore? This is my area of expertise. Do you know the White Glove Society?
They're from New Vegas, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I didn't play that one.
Okay. Well, I'm going to just to spoiler. I'm going to steer away from the actual cannibal.
Oh, okay.
Put me on the opposite end, way far away. So yeah, I'm not going near the White Glove. Gourmand.
You know, I think I might risk it next to her. Maybe she's not gonna eat me at the table. I do not think I'm gonna be able to handle insatiable frugivore chewing in my ear all evening.
Oh, he's just a little guy. Be little squeaks.
Looks like he's screaming too while he's chewing on that thing.
He's loving it. It's good fruit.
Next up, this is what got left on the stove. Everyone has that weird item at Thanksgiving that someone brings that nobody touches. Here we have a scream puff, whose cook or whoever made it just kind of left it on the table and hasn't claimed it. Spider food from our weird eco-friendly aunt, and a questionable cuisine. It kind of looks more like smoke than food. Who knows who brought that? So
The
which one
scream
of
puff
these
looks
is the
delectable.
nastiest?
Uh,
Yeah.
I think I'd eat the scream puff. Like I'd start with his fingers and go up. But I think the questionable cuisine is the one that's questionable at best.
Yeah, I mean, it's in the name, right? I think for me, I might risk it with the scream puff as well, but I'm not touching that goddamn spider food.
Too stringy.
Too stringy. Without further ado, we've got the main course. You guys have no idea how difficult it was to try and find a roasted ham, a turkey, and a goose. The three traditional Thanksgiving and or Christmas meals. So which one is most fitting our table this year, Nimi?
Now, I've never had goose before. I've had duck, and that is delicious. Like, give me a roasted duck, and I will tear that thing apart. But a gilded goose might be a little too metallic for my taste.
Yeah,
So I think I got to go classic. I got to go with strutting turkey.
gotta go strutting turkey. You know, in real life, I'm not really a ham guy, but pig on a giant spear over an open flame might be pretty
Could be
good.
if it's on there long enough, sure, nice and crispy.
Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the giant skewer. We're gonna see what happens. Now, what's for dessert? We've got cake with devouring sugar maw, with a delicious bunt cake, cherry eyes, and gummy worm arms. We have cookies with Sir Ginger the Meal Ender. That's one of my personal favorite cards.
A
And we
good
have
name.
candy with Candy Trail, which is a surprisingly playable artifact.
I think we have to go with Sir Ginger. I mean, he's the meal ender. It's it's over.
It's in the name, right? I think it's a lot of fun. Man, that devouring sugar maw looks delicious to me, though. I know it's eating a person, but if the tables were turned, I think I'd tear into that thing.
Get a little bite of that thing.
Get a little bite of them gummy worms.
Ooh.
So I know you talked about sleeping a lot after the Thanksgiving meal, but we got a couple options of what's going to happen to us. Is it the food coma, and we're just going to fall asleep at Grandma's cottage? Are we going to be over encumbered and waddle back to the car? Or will it be the night of Sweet's revenge, and we hang out at Grandma's till the wee hours of the morning, just picking at scraps and eating candy?
I if I'm eating a limbus, it'll be a food coma for me. Like, I'll be out of commission for a while.
Food coma for you, buddy. I'm sorry. I think I'm gonna have to leave you at the cottage. I think I'm gonna over encumbered waddle my way back to the car and drive back to civilization.
Take your extra 3 pounds of meat and drive on home.
And try at least, yeah. So I thought that was just a little fun Thanksgiving themed thing for us to do here. Just kind of a quick episode this week. We wanted to get something out, even though it's the holiday. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the U.S. Nimby, you got any kind words for the people before we head out?
It's been a pleasure as always, folks, and we appreciate you taking the time to watch. If anybody has any deck lists that are sick and need some adjustments, send them our way, and we'll give you our thoughts. We're not claiming to be the best. We're just claiming to be people with opinions. So bring them on, and we'll let you hear it. And like Goblin said before, just whoever you are, whatever you believe in, just have a good time with your family.